the digital clock is about to strike 7. I'm sure of it. It's so awesome to have so many people here tonight and such great energy. So welcome to the December board meeting. We're so happy to have so many of you here. And we have, everyone is here tonight. Tricia is with us this evening remotely. She is ill and in quarantine, but feeling well enough to join us virtually. And she's going to be observing the meeting this evening as a non-voting board member. And Trish, we want to thank you for your dedication to the board and the district, that despite not feeling well, you're here with us, and we appreciate that. So thank you for your dedication. Yeah. Can you hear us, Trish? Yeah, okay. Good. Next, we are going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So all who can rise, please do so, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, one nation. So first up on our exciting agenda this evening is Dr. Tarina Parker with the Washington, Saratoga, Warren, Hamilton, Essex, BOCES presentation, and she's brought some other guests with her. So welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Love the opportunity to have a chance to introduce a little bit about our programs, introduce some of our staff members, and most importantly, to introduce some of our students who are here to talk about their experiences within the program. So I'm going to start with a little bit of swag. So I'm going to pass. We have a one-pager that just provides some information about our services. We also have some pens, and because we're fiscally responsible, they may not work, but but they're very nice, and they do have our logo on them. So just to talk a little bit about our programs, we offer so many programs and opportunities to our region that we are so proud of. So you'll hear this evening about our CTE programs, and you'll hear from a number of students who'll talk about their experiences within our programs, their experiences with work-based learning, their experiences with Skills USA. But in addition to our CTE programs, we offer ELD programming. We have a whole division dedicated to our exceptional learners. We offer school support services. So we provide technology assistance and technology setup and help desk and implementation for our districts. We also provide purchasing power. And so districts have an opportunity to purchase technology through us at a reduced rate. We also provide professional development. A huge part of what we do is working with our school districts to provide PD regionally, and also to provide professional development to teachers and administrators on site. And really, our goal and our mission is to provide cost-effective shared services across our region. And so we are here to serve you. And we are most proud of being able to serve our districts in a number of capacities. My role as district superintendent is twofold. One of those is obviously to be the CEO of our BOCES and to lead our BOCES through developing and implementing programs. But the other is to be a support to our region and to serve as a representative of the commissioner. And that means working with our CSOs throughout our region, working with our school boards, helping to interpret regulations from the state, and really working as partners with you to be able to help support you in providing the excellent educational opportunities that you do for your students. And so I am only a small part of the program this evening. So now we get to the good part. I'd like to introduce Tony Muller, our Senior Executive Officer, who'll take us through an opportunity to hear from some of your fabulous students.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for this time to be here tonight. And we have 6 of your students here tonight. We had 2 other students scheduled, but they have a basketball game tonight. But one of your students, Elisa, who's playing basketball tonight, she sent me all the answers to the questions for tonight so that I can share her thoughts about the programs as well. So at this time, I want to invite the students up here. Come on down. And so our students are your students, and you share them with us, and we really appreciate that. You know, as Dr. Parker said, we are a cooperative of school districts, so the idea of our services and our programs and our career and technical education, as well as our early college career academy, is to provide opportunities that would be difficult difficult for schools to run. So you'll hear about some of the programs like our heavy equipment program for all the 31 schools to buy dump trucks and bulldozers to be able to have those types of programs wouldn't be practical. So we try to work with the districts, find out what the needs are, put programs together and make them work. So I'm going to stop talking and kind of prompt them, and I'll keep passing the mic around so that everybody can hear in the audience. And we'll start. I have several questions for them. Once we're done, then you'll have an opportunity to ask them questions as well. And we're going to begin with, why don't we do it this way? Begin with your name, your grade, the program, and why you chose to go to BOCES. So we'll do the first question and we'll keep passing the mic around.
Hi, I'm Alexis Pape. I'm a senior and I'm in New Vision's Health Career Exploration. And I chose to do that program because I heard about it as a sophomore and I knew I wanted to go into medicine, but I didn't know what specific field I did. And this program gives me an opportunity to explore many different programs and career opportunities to see which one I actually want to pursue in my future.
Hi, my name's Adam Morton. I chose business because that's always been something I wanted to go into. I'm a senior, and the business entrepreneurship program, it's like furthering yourself, and you also get like college credits on the way. And they also have many other things like Skills USA, like as you discussed earlier, that you could further yourself and put yourself more in the field.
Hello, I'm Darnell. I'm a junior. I chose the new media program for ECCA mainly because I want to be a videographer, but I also like to dabble in like graphic design and like just web design in general. So like all of that. So I think it would be a good opportunity.
I'm Ryder Crescenti. I'm a senior. I chose heavy equipment because I just really like being out in the outdoors and I just want to see what I can do with the heavy equipment field and the machinery and the mechanic wise and everything like that.
I'm Michael Shaughnessy. I'm a senior and I'm in heavy equipment. I chose this program because I wanted to be able to get my CDL through there, and I planned on going into the heavy equipment field after school, and it was something to do.
I'm Cade Stathis, also senior, and I also do heavy equipment. I chose this because I saw it, or it's an opportunity that I would not be able to get any other place, and I also wanted to get my CDL, and I'm definitely going to use it a lot once I graduate.
Why don't you start? Next part, tell us heavy equipment.
In heavy equipment, we do a lot of everything, anything from learning how to run equipment to diagnosing problems with the equipment, learning to run grade. We run anything from very large cat excavators to small Echo chainsaws.
Some of the welding and the maintenance.
Yeah, there's a lot of different opportunities there. There's welding, which is great. I went in with a plan to go into operating and ended up with an offer for a job with welding, and I've just gotten a lot more opportunities than what I expected, and there's really no end to the opportunities that you get with it.
So in my program, we're only in the classroom on Monday and Friday, and all of our classes are med-specific classes. So it's all stuff that we're really interested in learning. And then on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we're out in the field with different mentors. Sometimes it's nurses. Today I was at the firehouse, and you get to really understand and see what they do on an everyday basis to see if that's something you're interested in.
So in business and entrepreneurship, you put yourself in the scenario. We do many projects that you can relate to. Let's say your first year of college, how would you balance that out? There's many internships that we can get into, and you get to pick your own internship. And I believe that it furthers what you would learn here more into business.
So so far in new media, we've been doing graphic design and also photography. We use Adobe Illustrator, which is one of the biggest vectorizing softwares out there. And we've learned how to make characters. We're learning how to do logos as well, which is something that every company needs. And then we also learned how to take professional pictures and market them as our own, which also every company needs, their own pictures as well. So it's allowed me to be like, skillful in like everything that comes with media.
Want to continue to talk about that work-based learning?
So far, we haven't had any internships. I do know when we finish the program, we'll have 32 college credits, which is about half of a associate's degree. So that chops a year off. We'll also have 3 certifications in the Adobe products, which Adobe's been out for like 20 years. So that's a good thing to have under your belt that like guarantees you to have, a pretty, a high salary when you get out. And then also we'll be working with internships, like whether it's photography or videography or graphic design, and we'll be able to like make our own stuff for them and like market ourselves that way.
Okay. So in like business and entrepreneurship, as he was saying, we do also get college credits. So the college I'm going to next year, I already got accepted in. They're accepting all of my credits that I'm gonna have this year, on top of like the English credit we do. That's a dual credit. So even though it counts for high school as well, you can count it towards your degree for next year. So in reality, if you count up all those credits, like he said, you can get like half as associates, or you can pursue for more than that. So you can wipe off like 2 years of college before you even start.
So the only college credit you get with New Vision's Health Careers is medical terminology, but all of the classes really are difficult and they prepare you for what classes are going to be like in college. And it also is only a half-day program, so you can attend classes here at the second half of the day. And those classes I'm taking are APs, so those can transfer to college credits. Yeah, and it's also colleges and other future employers look really highly on all the shadowing experience and mentorship opportunities that we've had. It gives us just a jump start on other people in our field.
In heavy equipment, we do math and English, and in English well, it'll help us a lot with like our resumes and then math we do a lot with just real life out in the work field, like again grade and anything like trenches.
All your measurements and
Yeah.
things. And talk about a little bit about your certifications.
With heavy equipment, you can go in and not only can you get certified for like your CDL or things like that, you can also go down being as small as forklift certified. That can help you if you get into maybe another part of the heavy equipment business. If you really are into it, there's a way you could get a welding certification through the heavy equipment class as well. There's really just a bunch of possibilities for everything through this class.
Okay, next question. Why was this a good decision for you, and what's your favorite part of your BOCES program?
It was a good decision for me because it opened up a lot of new doors. It opened up tons of opportunities for welding, heavy equipment, things I'll use throughout my whole life. Just a lot of skills that'll carry with me.
All the knowledge I've learned, I use it right now. I'll use it outside of school. It'll help me with my career.
And your favorite part? Favorite part of the program?
Favorite part is definitely operation, learning how to run the equipment.
I think it was a good decision for me just because it so far has opened and closed many ideas of what I possibly want to go into in the future. I know I have many years before I need to actually like pick one, but it's just opening up ideas of what I do and don't want in the future. And my favorite part is definitely going out into the different careers and working alongside them.
I think the program's great because like no matter what industry, like all their industries, like they all revolve around like business, no matter like which way you put it. So to have that like opportunity and those things like under your belt, I think they could really push you towards like any industry you want. Like even if you do go into that industry, they have to have like an HR department. people who like hire the people and all that. So that's why I chose it.
I think that I chose this because I originally didn't know what I was going to do out of high school until I got into videography, and that also happened pretty random. And then I learned that we were going to use Photoshop and Illustrator, so I kind of self-taught myself and like fell in love with it. I also like that, you know, it sets us up for college, and it makes it where we can only have to do 3 to maybe even 2 years of college. And I think the whole experience is going to be very fun.
And so the question, your favorite part, your BOCES program? Decision.
Personally, my favorite part of the BOCES program that I chose is being hands-on with working on the equipment when it breaks, because it's stuff that needs to get done. This was a good decision for me because I just am not very book smart, so it gives me an opportunity to really like it shows me what the real world's like, and it doesn't really baby me into it. It's just what's going to happen, whether I like it or not.
And so Darnell, why don't you start? We'll go back. Future plans.
My future plans is to finish out the program, potentially do college in the summer of next year so I can get my associate's degree when I graduate high school, and then you know, go straight into college while pursuing videography or graphic design and become one of those two.
My future plans are like I'm setting myself up like this year, because this year like I'm doing the program as well, but I'm also taking like additional college classes. So when I do graduate high school, I already have my associate's degree and all my credits are going to transfer over. So I would just have to finish 2 more years for a 4-year degree.
Right now, I'm leaning either towards dermatology or oral surgery. I'm looking to go to Liberty University down in Virginia to achieve those.
Right after I graduate, I'll be working with my dad. We own the Summit Group. We build custom homes. He's always said he wants to expand the business, so hopefully we'll own some equipment one day and do that.
Right after graduation, I got an opportunity in the Pipe Fitters Union in Albany. So hopefully right after school, I'll head down there and start welding, and then hopefully soon enough come back, get my CDL once I turn 18 and start with that.
I'm just going to use the possible internships that BOCES provides through us and see what I can do when it comes to getting a job offer through the internships.
Great. And I did want to share what Ella had shared with me. Ella is a senior, LSA, and she's in the criminal justice program. She chose BOCES because she has a compassion for criminal justice, and she believes in law enforcement. She enjoys the hands-on things in the class, such as participating in mock trials, crime scene investigations, accident investigations, crime scene sketching, fingerprinting, and community service projects. After the 2 years, she'll have a first aid CPR certifications, security guard certification, and protection officer certification. She said that this has helped her grow as a person. She's developed better communication and problem-solving skills, and she had an opportunity last year. She placed second in New York State at Syracuse for crime scene investigation at the New York State Skills USA competition. Her favorite part of the program is meeting new people and helping the juniors, teaching juniors grow in the program. And her future plans are to become a state trooper for criminal investigation when she turns 21 and potentially pursuing a career in the FBI. So you have a variety of students, great students. We do a little bit of career exploration. We try to have hands-on opportunities and skills and certifications in all of our programs and academics. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to you if you have questions for your students.
Anybody have questions, Mario?
Yeah.
Okay. Mario's got his mic queued up. So you got it turned on there, Mario?
A couple of questions I have. You said your dad's in the construction business. What did you get from BOCES that you couldn't have gotten from your?
So we mostly like build the houses right now, and like I said, he wants to expand the business, and like eventually I'll probably end up doing like all the site work, so like digging foundations and final grades of driveways and like obviously working on the equipment when it does break.
Then you guys are in the building and you go to BOCES, you're back and forth. Find that going outside of the school, doing something you really enjoy helped when you were in the building or
I mean, yeah, absolutely. It made the time here go by a lot faster. I mean, school is already enjoyable, but it's a lot more enjoyable knowing you get to go and do something that you really like after the fact for the second half of the day.
again, going back and forth, how did that change your ability to stay organized? Stuff
I can answer. So this year I've had way more homework and outside of school work than I've had in previous years. And it was a real like shock for me. So I really had to just get organized right off the bat. And that's how it's going to be next year and every other year going forward. So it really just like introduced me to being organized now. So I wasn't thrown into it when I was in a different spot that I didn't have as much support. So I appreciate that now.
Yeah, so it's a lot of work because our teachers are not like some others where they're like, oh yeah, if you get it done, that's good. They'll like zoom in and be like, oh, I see that there's a pixel missing there, or like, you know, look for mistakes. And that's what's gonna happen when you go into the field. They're gonna be like, well, see, I like the logo, but like I see a mistake here. And you know, one mistake can like mess up the whole process or like make you lose the job. So it's taught me that you have to pay attention to detail, and then also don't be scared to let other people see it and let them critique your work so you can fix it.
I don't necessarily have questions, but some of the words that I heard that made me just really happy is hands-on learning. These are the things that y'all said excited you. Project-based, you're out in the field, the internships, it is real world learning. So those things really landed on me in such a positive way. And I very much appreciate you taking the time to be here this evening. It's exciting that we have these opportunities for our students. And I love that we now have a deeper understanding as a board and administration of what you're doing when you do leave us for parts of the day. So thank you for being here and thank you for your work. And Trina, thank you for being here this evening. Yes, go ahead. It's okay.
I just wanted to say I'm just so impressed with how well-spoken this group of young people is, and I'm just it's you know, your thoughtfulness and your drive and ambition and ability to express yourself, very impressive. Thank you.
Very successful. Yes. Yeah. And John, did you have anything?
Still has microphone.
I just want to say thank you so much for our students to present tonight. It's wonderful to hear all the great things that you're doing. It's really tremendous, and you can hear from each one of them their passion, and that's really what it's all about, is our students finding that passion and then us as a school district ensuring that that path exists. And that's one of the great things about our partnership with our local BOCES, is that without them, some of this we couldn't make happen. And that's just really, it's just really a testament to the work that our local BOCES does. And I want to thank Dr. Parker and Mr. Tony Muller for being here today. I want to thank all of our students for participating today. I know you had a nice cheerleading section as well out there. And certainly once you can feel free to head out. I know that especially for those of you who are driving large machinery, we want to make sure you get your sleep tonight so you can be ready to roll for tomorrow. And I don't know if Trina, if you want to have any last words there.
just again, I just wanted to thank the students for participating this evening. What an amazing job you did. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't thank you as a board for your support because our BOCES programs don't operate without your support, without sending students, without supporting our programs, without the time that it takes for our CSOs to be involved in the planning of these programs. And I also wanted to thank our BOCES board members. We do have two of them here with us this evening, our Vice President Lynn King and also Dave Petruska. They're back there between the students. I just wanted to thank them because an incredible amount of work goes into developing these experiences for our young people, and it doesn't happen without their support, without your support. So thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Let's give another round of applause. Well, y'all are going to be a tough act to follow, but I have faith in our next group coming up. And that is Christina Howe and Cassie Hensler with our special education department presentation. So- I have both. I have faith in you, and we welcome you to the mic this evening.
It's pretty awesome to see those here. That's really awesome at that age to come up and present in front of a board and audience. I think that right there says
Sorry.
a lot about our students here at Lake George. Well, thank you guys for allowing us to present about the special education department here at Lake George. My name is Christina Howe, and I am the special ed head department at the high school level.
And I am Cassie Hensler at the elementary school. I am the head of the department. We are here to talk to you tonight about some of the goals that we have in our special education department at both levels. That will change in a moment, but I'll read them for you. We'll go more into depth with what all of these goals are as the slides go on. But here are our slides, our goals. First is to collaborate with interventionists K-12 to close the gap for students with disabilities. We're also looking to streamline our continuum of services and our delivery models to close the gap and raise the bar for our students, as well as fostering a community and culture to support success and well-being for all of our students.
I was wondering why that wasn't there. All right. Our department goals are closely related to and aligned with the strategic plan. As you can see, we aim to close the gap through individual education progress monitoring of students' IEPs, which we'll go into a little more detail in the next slide. We raise the bar by supporting the daily needs of students with disabilities with supplemental support with varied provided services, such as resource room, consultant teaching, co-teaching, and reading support. And we create valued culture by embracing an inclusion model community where all students are included across all settings, not just in the academic setting, but also within our athletics department with offering a unified sports program.
Here we have listed from our least restrictive to most restrictive environment, all of the programs and services that we offer. So starting with our least restricted would be related service providers, moving to a direct and indirect model for consultant teaching, then a resource room model, integrated co-teaching, and our most restrictive would be our special class programming.
The handouts that we broke down, the handouts actually break down exactly what the criteria is for each of these programs and services, as well as it indicates what our job as special educator is for that particular program. So that's for your viewing. Some of the related services that we work very closely with to make sure that the students' IEPs and individual needs are met are speech and language, the counseling service, occupational therapists, physical therapists, assistive technology, social work services, and behavioral services. We work pretty closely on a regular basis with those individuals.
Here we have for you a few changes that have been happening over the years in our department. Firstly, we have added what we call our TeachTown app. It's accessible for students with intellectual disabilities and autism at both the elementary school and high school level. downloaded onto their device for them to use. And then also our school psychologist role has been shifting due to our decreasing enrollment. We're adjusting over the years to reduce to just one school psychologist who assists with a lot of testing. So last year in the 21-22 school year, we had one full-time school psychologist working primarily at the K-6 level. This year, she has shifted to a K-9 position, and next year we're proposing that she'll shift to strictly K-12 for testing for reevaluations and initial referrals for our special education students.
At the high school level, we have a work-based learning with skills credential program that is in and out of the district. We work closely with the transition coordinator to navigate this program. The first half of the year is actually home-based here at the high school and works on the basic work skills, where the second half of the school year will be contracted out of the district at a community job with a job coach. Also at the high school level, we have a special class program, and those kiddos are at the senior level. In the 21-22 school year, they were in a special class called PACE. PACE stands for the Program of Academic and Community Experiences. And they were all within a special class strictly. Where this year, all of those students are actually fully integrated in all but one subject area. So they're in the integrated classes, which is pretty amazing. And in the afternoon, they're doing the CTE programs, which we just got to see. And another major change is our CSE chair position is going to be changing in January of 2023. And she's going to be missed. All right. So this slide is all about data. And the special ed department really kind of lives in. So how does the special ed department and CSE committee use data? Number one, we do it through progress monitoring of the skill development to our individual goals on the individual education plan, IEP. What is progress monitoring? Well, each of our students with an IEP will have individual yearly goals that they're working on toward achieving through intervention services, all of those other people that we talked about being closely working with. Each goal is different depending on the needs of those particular students, individual students. The service providers collect data through various means, checklists, reading probes, writing probes, math sample problems, reading passages, et cetera, depending on what their goal is. And this is done on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. That information is then imported into the IEP and graphed for us to see the student's progress or lack of progress. And then adjustments to instruction are made accordingly. Progress reports are sent home to parents on a quarterly basis, parents or guardians. And this shows just yet another example of how the special ed department supports the strategic goal of closing that gap. The second example is determining eligibility for special education services and service recommendations, which are all laid out in the handouts that are handed out. And also 3, determine curricular decisions to aid in developing specially designed instruction for our students.
Our department members we spoke with a couple of weeks ago, and they have expressed interest in trainings in the following areas. Executive functioning needs, co-teaching models for our counseling and social work staff, some training in how to progress monitor for social emotional goals. That can sometimes be a tougher way to track since you're using just your observational notes and it's not a score. And then ongoing new teacher trainings, as well as at the elementary school, we're working on getting a new math curriculum for our general education students, as well as trying to find an intervention program that's going to support those special education students. So we have so many new staff members in the special education department, so all of these trainings are going to be really pertinent for most of us at both levels.
And we have an entirely new counseling and social work staff at the K-12. So trainings related to the IEP and progress monitoring is quite important as well, especially referring to those social emotional needs. So these are the goals reached by our special ed department. These goals also support our district plan of create values, raise the bar, and close the gap set by our district. The first one, it says, is 100% compliance for the state performance indicator 13. Every few years, the special ed department, the IEPs are viewed to see by a compliance officer to see if the IEPs are compliant. And this particular indicator 13 is for grades 9 through 12, the transition section of the IEP. And kudos to us, the compliance officer stated that we were a model school, which is pretty cool. Number two, 100% of our PACE students, those kiddos that are in the special class, are on target for receiving a Regents or a local diploma with a CDOS credential or a CTE endorsement. That's amazing. So our PACE students are students with significant intellectual disabilities with 2 or more cognitive scores below 70 standard score. Having 100% of these kids on target for those, for a Regents or a local diploma, is truly amazing. It speaks volumes to the hard work and dedication of not just the special ed department, but our school as a whole. And our last goal reached is that we have only 1 student in or out of the district who is New York State alternate assessment eligible. Alternate assessment measures the standards, the state standards in the area of ELA, math, and science for students with the most severe cognitive disabilities. And having only 1 student to have the alternate assessment is actually a pretty good percentage. Thank you guys for your continued support. Do you have any questions? Question, ma'am?
Oh, I do. We're going to let Janine go first.
All right.
Mario, you start working on your questions. Oh, you don't have any? Okay.
Questions?
Well, we welcome that, you know that, Mario, but Janine, go ahead.
I was just curious about the Teach Town app. What is that?
Yeah, sure. So it was an app created with a lot of evidence-based research that they use, and it helps those students specifically with autism with their study skills and their vocabulary and their listening comprehension. And then it can also tie into their academics. There's an ELA and a math section in there too. So it's a supplemental device that's used for those students.
So can they use it as like a tracking tool to help keep
Yeah,
them on
there's
track?
data. Yep, there's data
Ah.
built right into the app.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was one of the things I wrote down. Yeah, thank you. Anybody else?
I'm just trying to understand structurally or process-wise, when students who have special education needs, is that integrated with the response to intervention, like flow?
RTI?
Yes.
So RTI we try to do intervention services before even referred to the CSE. So if RTI doesn't work, or if those services or those interventions are not working, then there is a process to go through to see if it would be a student that would be referred to CSE.
So sort of like on the front end, and
Yep.
then it made, okay,
Yep.
thank you, that straightens it out.
Anybody else? Congratulations on helping us be a model school.
Right?
Guys. Good job. Yeah.
Thank you guys. Thank you
Thank
guys for
you.
supporting us. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for being there.
Thanks so
Thank you
much.
for all your good work and for this presentation tonight. We
course.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Is mine still there?
I don't know.
There you go. There we go.
Yeah. Next up, we have the elementary school update with Principal Jim Conway.
Yeah, tough acts to follow all around tonight. So as they're making their way out, I do want to thank Jamie Barra for the work that she does leading the department, because the success that you saw certainly requires that leadership, but also the leadership that Christina and Cassie provide. And Fran and I are both very proud of the work in our special education department. So thank you all around to our special education folks. So happy holiday season to everybody. Crazy. It's December. It's amazing. So some of the things that I will chat about are in line with the holidays. Yeah, why don't I start off with this? I want to thank the elementary school staff. And this time of year, we have a lot of people that behind the scenes are doing an awful lot to support our students. And that work happens in both buildings. But I do want to publicly recognize the work of Faith Holmes, Lisa Fox, Tori Coddington, and Zoe Chodak, and now Mr. John Luthringer, who was involved in one of our recent events where we partner with the Rotary. But when you think about all that goes into providing a special holiday season from Thanksgiving right through the end of this month to all the holidays that our children celebrate, Christmas certainly being one that's front and center, we have 30 students in the elementary school who their holiday season has been brightened by the work of those people and by many community organizations chipping in. We live in a special place, but we also have special staff members that are facilitating all of those things behind the scenes. So it's certainly worth noting. Our winter concert, Thursday, December 15th, this Thursday at the Lake George Junior Senior High School Auditorium, 7 p.m. No snow until after 7 p.m., 8 p.m. maybe can start. We are moving forward. Third and fourth grade chorus, fifth and sixth grade band, fifth and sixth grade chorus. This time of year, it's been our show, great performance. So hopefully some of you will make your way there. But I wanted to point out, I took a look at these stats. I'm a statistics guy, so I looked at it. And 76% of the students in grades 5 and 6 are participating in either band or chorus. It's like, wow, it's a pretty amazing statistic and a credit to our music department, the work that Mallory Meyer and Mariah Nissen are doing. So we're really proud of that. And the similar numbers at third and fourth band starts up in January. But those numbers will be up around 75% of the kids in one or the other. Many of them are in both. Well over 50% are in both. Friday the 23rd, keeping with that holiday theme, is our holiday sing-along. Some of you have made appearances in the past. If you have not, we will get a mic in your hands. If you'd like that, it's outside this year. That's our plan, weather permitting, at 10:15 on the 23rd. So mark your calendars. Curriculum updates. Cassie mentioned a math renewal year for us in her presentation. She talked specifically about the intervention component. And one of the things that happens in all departments is after several years of using a certain text or certain materials as tools to teach the standards, we follow the next generation standards in our curriculum. But we're at that point where our contract is up with Envision Math. And the timing is right to really take a look at, well, what makes the most sense for our students? And programs change and approaches change to meet those standards. And the work that a number of our teachers are doing in the building, also Ashley Gershon and Megan Coker, myself, and Ashley's doing a tremendous amount of work. I think she's out there somewhere, organizing different vendors to come in, really studying, doing a deep dive in reviews and talking to other school districts and really trying to figure out what makes the most sense for Lake George. That work is underway because we know that going into next year, we want to have our K-6 math program in place. So I mentioned that to you, and we really have 3 different programs. We're also working with BOCES. BOCES, great presentation tonight. We work with them, and they help facilitate some of the work behind the scenes and the review of those different programs. But we're looking at Into Math, Savvis, and Eureka Math Squared. Is that right? Yeah, okay. So more information on that as we move farther into the course of the year. I also want to mention we're busy as a staff getting trained in the science lab experiences called Explorations. You might see something about science explorations in the reading that you do. It's really that lab experience that kids have. We've always had a fourth grade fourth grade science assessment. This year, there is no fourth grade science assessment, but next year we'll have an assessment back at fifth grade. And the idea is that prior to that assessment, kids have had these lab experiences. So we have staff at all different grade levels being trained. Again, Ashley is very much involved in that, as is Jeff Bezon. So we're right on target to make sure that our kids have these experiences. And it's an exciting time for science to really build the program and grow with these lab experiences for kids, talking about hands-on and just making a lot of sense as they're learning science concepts. The last thing I want to say, we're speaking about, I mentioned tests. We finally got our information from New York State. They came out with their report cards, and we're proud of the work that our students accomplished, the scores that they had despite all the challenges of COVID. And again, I look at that and I think back to the support that our board provided in allowing us to be open and have our kids in person. I think it definitely showed our kids were successful. And again, one measure, but we're proud when our kids are successful. And there was good data on a 3 through 8 basis. So that's all I've got. Thank you.
Jim. Next up, we have the secondary update with Principal Fran Kokoza.
Hi, thank you. I would be remiss if I didn't make note of Jamie Bear, and it's interesting, the journey. We did not plan tonight to be the special ed department's presentation, and the fact that Bern is here, we have come full circle somewhat. However, in Jamie's time, her tireless efforts as a advocate for all students. All means all, and Jamie best embodies that with everything that she has done for our district over so many years. So we wish her and her husband Ted great success in their new endeavors down south. And we did not plan tonight to be like, it's so interesting that it all came together tonight. Some very quick updates, because tonight's meeting is interestingly presentation heavy. First, we had excellent concerts last month. Hopefully you enjoyed some tunes at our concerts last month in November. And of course, the excellent musical that occurred this past weekend, The Addams Family, with a packed house Friday night and a nearly packed house Saturday night. We represented the Lake George talent to our community incredibly. So we're quite excited. A huge thank you to John Alecci, Amy Baker, and Catherine Reed for a job well done. Finally, just a very quick update about our forum. As I mentioned at a previous meeting, our shared decision-making body determined that they would have 4 focuses this year, 4 goals. One is to completely revamp and look at our open house to engage with parents at a much higher level of participation than we historically have had. So we had an interesting update from our open house subcommittee. Our attendance policy is having a comprehensive in-house review right now, which may result in some recommendations to the policy committee later this year or early next year. So our subcommittee is currently looking at our attendance and our attendance policy. And right now they're in the data phase. So they're collecting data on student absences, and it's quite interesting and quite telling. Another subcommittee is working on our Senior Give Back Day. It has been an annual staple for Lake George High School to send our seniors out into the community at the end of the year. We are looking to revamp and re-energize that annual event. So subcommittee is working on that. And finally, career exploration. We are looking at all of the different ways, and our curriculum committee this evening heard from our business department. However, this forum subcommittee is looking at all of the different ways that we expose the different pathways to different careers to our students from the moment that they enter our building in 7th grade. So I'm really excited between open house, attendance, Senior Give Back Day, and careers, our forum subcommittees and our forum shared decision-making body, which again, as you know, represents all of the constituents of our school community, is actively working on those topics. So I hope to continue to keep you up to date with their progress throughout this year, as a lot of work is being accomplished. And I wish everyone happy holidays, and let me be the first to say Happy New Year. Any questions?
Thank you, Fran, very much. Next up, we have Superintendent's report with Superintendent John Luthlinger.
Yes, thank you so much. It's been a great night of presentations. It really has. And I would be remiss if I didn't just comment briefly on our local BOCES, who I think, personally speaking, I've been working with our local BOCES for at least the last 16, 17 years of my career. And to me, they stand head and shoulders above any other BOCE. And not to speak ill will, they're all wonderful BOCES, but our BOCES really goes above and beyond to do what's best for our students. And I think that was demonstrated tonight. I have a few items here just to mention to the Board of Education. One is acknowledgement of our capital project vote. So we had our vote last Tuesday and it passed. So we will be building a new transportation facility. It's wonderful. It was a rainy day, but we did have 74% passing margin. So some good support. We feel really good about this as we've been battling leaky roofs for the last 2 weeks with all this rain and snow. So we're patched, but it seems like this is going to be a continuing trend as we've talked about the issues with our existing facility. So the next steps in this will be working, Lynn Durway is working closely with Tetra Tech on a contract that we'll be reviewing within the next few weeks, and that will go to the Board of Education for approval. And so we're entering into a contract really to begin the next phase of the project. This is really where the real work begins now. So we've talked about the timeline. So all of that design and SCD review, and we'll be talking a lot more about this as we get going into the months. But I did want to thank the community for their support. I want to thank the Board of Education. I want to thank the administration. I want to thank the stakeholder group that was involved since July as well. So it all came together. I do want to also mention we do not have any immediate plans for the existing property. That's come up several times over the course of the road shows that we've been doing. We will be working with a stakeholder group on a plan for the existing property. We have time. We have to continue to use that as a transportation facility while the new one is being built. And we know that we want to work towards a plan for that, but nothing immediate. I know the Post-Star said that we are tearing it down. That is not happening right away. There will be a plan for that. So I just want to make sure everyone knows the existing property, we're going to be evaluating it, looking at costs associated with it, and really what is in the best interest of the school district in regards to that existing property. So more to come on that in the coming months. As talked about several times tonight, we had a wonderful special education presentation tonight, and we are going through a transition in our special education department. So I'll also echo what everyone has also mentioned. I've gotten a chance to know Jamie Bear over the last few months since I've started, and you just want to thank her for her years of service. It's been about 18 years in the district. I did a little quick looking into that. So she has really been committed to the district and really leading our special education department for the last number of years. So I wanted to thank her. What's interesting is she's moving south, so that's wonderful. And they're moving, my parents retired to the same town that they're moving to. So I've been filling them in a little bit on my visits there, and it's wonderful and it's warm and it's nice. So I wish you all the best. I also want to mention that as part of this transition, we are on the board agenda tonight. We'll be welcoming back Berna Bouchard, who's also in the audience tonight as our interim CSE chairperson. So we're really excited to have Berna on board. And one of the things that wasn't talked about, but we really look at all of our positions. Anytime a position opens, we want to look at it through the lens of declining enrollment. And as part of that, we've also lost Billy Jo Meter, and I wish her all the best as well, the administrative assistant in the department. So she's moved on to a different position locally. So we're really taking a close look at that, and there's really strong potential here for us to absorb at least one position internally, which will be something that we're going to be evaluating between now and July. But there is some potential for that, so we'll continue to keep the Board of Education updated on that as we proceed. And one of the other items that I want to mention here is, obviously, I've shared with the Board of Education. I've also shared with our parents and public in regards to the New York State Education Commissioner's regulations in regarding to prohibiting the use of indigenous names, mascots, and logos by public schools. So we received this mandate in middle November, November 17th, and we did just actually get some additional regulations today. So I'm just taking a second just to read off a couple items here that are of importance. So on November 17th, the state had issued a directive to school districts prohibiting the use of indigenous names, mascots, and logos, as I mentioned. So yesterday, the Board of Regents also was presented with this same regulation by the Commissioner of State Education. And at this time, the public comment out of there is they're very supportive of this. What will happen for the next steps, just to make sure the Board of Education is aware, this will go out for public comment across the state for the next 60 days. Then it'll go back to the Board of Regents in April for likely approval, with the exact regulation starting in May. So there are several requirements, and we'll be working through those over the next several months as a governance team, and certainly with the community as well. But really the main one here that I just want to highlight is that by the end of this school year, boards of education must commit via resolution to eliminate use of all indigenous names, logos, and mascots by the end of this school year. So there's a phased-in approach to that, but there has to at least be a resolution at some point before July 1st. And we can obviously talk more about this. This just came out today, and we're expecting to receive further guidance on this. As I mentioned, as you've seen in the newspaper reports and my commentary to the board as well, Lake George is really in a different spot than most other school districts across New York State. As we've been really, through the leadership of the Board of Education and administration and past superintendents, dating all the way back to Sherm Parker with the gymnasium project, we have been really utilizing and utilizing the LG logo for a number of years. So we have some things in place that are very positive in regards to compliance with this regulation, but I think there's some things that still need to be determined. One of the pieces yesterday that was discussed, the Board of Regents, they're going to be establishing an advisory council to include members of indigenous tribes that will be looking specifically at nicknames. So our nickname is the Warriors. There are lots of school districts across across New York State that have the same nickname, to include other nicknames such as Silver Warriors or Indians as well. They'll be looking closely at specific ones like that. So we expect to see more guidance over the next couple months. But as we get into the new year, we'll certainly be engaging in some community conversations, really to educate our public and our community on this regulation, our obligations as a school district and a Board of Education, and really looking for some guidance on next steps to get some feedback. So more to come on this. As mentioned, the Board of Regents just saw this yesterday, and we're getting this hot off the press today. So there will be more updates as we, as I said, get going into the new year. I had the pleasure, just a couple last celebrations here. I had the pleasure of attending the musical. I was blown away. I said to Mr. Kokoza and Mr. Lecce and others, Mrs. Baker, I was blown away. One of the things that we keep talking about, we have a small school feel with big school aspirations, big school, like resources, and it was just tremendous. I was blown away by the talent, the students that are involved, students that that's what musicals do. They bring students together. It's so wonderful to see a variety of cross-section of our students, student athletes, student musicians, students who are involved in other things. It was really just tremendous to see. So my son and I went, and we had a blast. It was funny. It was well done. The choreography was amazing. The set design. So a big thanks to the crew and cast. And I was, again, just so impressed with the talent and the effort. Couple musicals in high school. I know the work that goes into it, and they really just bravo. So job well done. And finally, I just want to mention also our fall sports teams. So all of our fall sports teams were scholar athlete teams. And what that means is 75% of the roster has a GPA of 90% or higher. So every single one of our teams, all seven of them reached that milestone. And individually, we had 76 student athletes reach the individual scholar athlete. Those are set by NYSFA, which is New York State Public High School Sports Athletic Association. Thank you, Mr. Conway. That's a long acronym. So again, kudos to Athletic Director Manny, our teachers, our student athletes. Really, that's what it's about. It is about academics first, and then athletics, and really this supports that mission as well. So really, just a lot of tremendous things going on. I'm very excited for the chorus and band and concert tomorrow night. I got a great email from Clara, again, one of your students here. She's well spoken and well written. I know the board got the same email. So excited for the concert Thursday night. And I think the snow will hold off. So we should be good for that. I also want to wish the Board of Education a happy holiday and a happy new year. And we look forward to seeing all of you in January. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody have any questions? Okay. Next up on the agenda is the Audit and Finance Report. And, pardon? Oh, I think Audit and Finance is, sorry. Yeah. Audit and Finance with the chair of that committee, Mario Fasullo. Thank you.
Thank you. There's a number of things on here that will be on the consent agenda later. We reviewed the treasurer's report, talked about tax collections and almost $6 million from the town. We also received state aid, about $36,000, which came from some basic aid and lottery aid. There was a BOCES aid payment of $183,000 that we get twice a year. So there was a lot of income coming in, which is good. And then total interest earned on all investments of $45,000. As the interest rates continue to climb, our investments will benefit from that. We feel it at home, but it does help the school there. Clean Waters Report reviewed, nothing crazy there that we really need to talk about. The investment policy is a policy that we go over a couple times a year just to make sure that we're compliant, and that is really governed by the state. Nothing changed in it. We just reviewed it to make sure that we were in line with it. The bigger part that we spent the meeting on was the MOU, which is a memorandum of understanding with the minimum wage going up in the state of New York, January 1st, which is going to climb every year for the next 4 years on January 1st. We had to take a look at what we were paying our employees. And what we found is that there were some that were out of whack with the new range coming up. So we had 3 titles that were non-compliance for 2023, and then 2 individuals, 3 starting salaries that were non-compliance, 2 individuals that are currently with us that would not be in compliance. So we had to make some adjustments there. We did look at changing a few people to get into compliance. Overall, it's going to cost about $47,000. When I say a few people, I don't remember the exact number. I apologize of the exact number of people that we do have to move. Oh no, I do. I have it right here. I don't have the exact number. I just have the sheet. But the good part is that through attrition of the school, we'll be able to at cost. It won't be an additional cost to the school. And we also took a look at current salaries and making sure that they were a little bit more attractive for us to get some more candidates. We all go out, we see help wanted signs. If you're in business, you understand that it's difficult to attract good talent. So in our discussion, we talked about where should we move the bar to attract talent to the school. And we decided on that, and that will also be on the consent agenda later today. Did I miss anything on that one, Lynn? That was a big one. Then we talked about also raising the equipment purchasing threshold from 1,000 to 5,000. That $1,000 threshold is 15 years old. Obviously, we've seen costs go up just in the last couple of years. So that will really help them just with a little bit of flexibility of where to code it, accounting-wise, bookkeeping-wise, just to make it easier for the business office, just to move that threshold to $5,000. And we talked about next month, we really don't need to have a meeting. And then the last thing, item E, which is also on the consent agenda, is the real property tax schedule of just tax collections from the town when we're getting them. And one of the beauties of one of the laws in New York State is regardless if the town collects the taxes or not, the school gets that dollar amount from the state, and the state has to go chasing the people that haven't paid their taxes. So in a way, we do benefit from that, which is very good. So we reviewed that schedule as well, and that will be in the consent agenda. Any questions, guys?
Thank you, Martin.
Thank you.
So next we have the Building and Ground Committee report, and Janine Bieber will give that. She's the chair of that committee.
Okay, thank you. So our last meeting was on November 8th, and I feel like an entire lifetime has passed since then. So I'm looking at the minutes, and so much has happened. And first of all, at that point in time, Kevin, our new director of facilities, he hadn't even started yet, and we were just introducing him to the group. So that had changed. And then, of course, the vote on the transportation facility has come and gone already. So, however, there's still some noteworthy information to talk about. This I forgot to ask about this, but with the old 2018 building project, there was an update that the only remaining items were the door holds for the 2 library doors in the elementary school. I don't know, was that, because I think they were going to try to do it around Thanksgiving. Okay, all right. All right. Okay, well, good, then that's still current. Okay. Then also we had an HVAC project update. We had received 3 bids for the electrical portion of the project, and the committee will be recommending to the board eventually to award the bid to Brownell Electric Corporation, and that will be coming in the near future. And again, that work is to be completed mostly next summer. We had the transportation facility update, which is now old news, because that was all about communications prior to the election. But we did have a guest also. We had Eric Robert, who's the president of Schoolhouse Construction, and he provided background information regarding his company with respect to their expertise in school construction projects. So he explained their role and how that company would handle the day-to-day oversight with the project. So it was really informational. I thought he provided us with great information to read through too. So we've received 2 proposals, and we will be eventually, we'll be also recommending that Schoolhouse Construction be appointed as the construction management services for this project for the transportation facility in the near future. So that was the meeting. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Janine. Next, we have the Policy Committee report with Marianne McKenzie, who is the chair of that committee.
Okay. Okay. Well, first, I'd like to point out that the Policy Committee meeting minutes from November are present in the agenda for your review. There are 3 policies moving forward to second read this evening, and we discussed them at the November board meeting, but they are student gender identity, 7552, 8340, instructional materials and non-public school students, and 1510, regular board meetings. No, is that correct? Hang on just a second. That is correct. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry about that. We have 6 policies moving forward to first read this evening, and see if I can get this to come out smoothly here. One of them is 3280, use of school facilities. Again, this was a policy that we discussed last month, and the details are in the minutes that are on the agenda, but just a quick recap. The update in this policy reflects current law, which gives school districts the opportunity to charge for use of facilities. And also, Erie One BOCES had recommended that we split this policy into 2 because they dealt with different aspects of facilities use, but the policy committee is recommending that we keep all components of use of facilities in one policy just for user friendliness of the policy manual. So that policy is there for first read. We also, there's a policy 4230, which is district committees, is not moving forward to first read this evening, but the policy committee did review this electronically as part of our manual review. And what we realized upon review is that this policy was adopted prior to the district establishing our district shared decision-making plan. And we realized that the content of the district committee's policy actually represents a portion of our district-wide shared decision-making plan. And so we considered whether it may be serve the district better to instead have a policy related to the district-wide shared decision-making plan, the legal expectations and requirements, and then move that forward and retire the district committee's policy. And we did have consensus on the committee that was a good route to take. And so both of those, the district committee's policy is listed here. If hopefully you've had a chance to take a look at that. But the policy that we're moving forward to first read is then a new policy, 4231, participation in school-based planning and decision-making. And it's just a brief outline of the expectations with our shared decision-making plan. And there's also a link to our collaborative processes and district shared decision-making document. We also have Policy 7134, admission of international students. Again, we discussed this last month. The language in this policy has been readied and it's ready to move forward for first read. And in doing so, we also recognize that policy 7132, which is non-resident students, had connecting points to this new policy. And so we reviewed that one as well and made a few changes so that those two policies are in alignment with each other. And then also made just some minor wordsmithing recommendations as well. And if that wasn't enough, we also received a handful of Erie One BOCES updates, and two of them are moving forward to first read this evening. One is 5681 school safety plans. And that update reflects amendments to Ed Law 2801-A and Regulation Section 155.17, which essentially requires school districts to consider installation of a panic alarm system as part of the safety plan. And it also requires district to include in the safety plan plans for emergency remote instruction beginning with the 2023-24 school year. And that would be similar to the pivot plan, instructional pivot plan developed during COVID. And then the last policy, also an Erie One update, is 6121, sexual harassment in the workplace. And that update reflects revision, change in amendment to Executive Law Section 295, and essentially just establishes a toll-free confidential hotline for complaints of workplace sexual harassment. People can receive counsel and assistance through that hotline. And that's my report. And our next policy meeting is in January. Does anyone have questions? Sorry, that was a lot.
It was good.
Thank you, Marianne. So next up on our agenda is public comments. And I just wanted to make note, if anybody is attending virtually and you have a comment or question, please send an email to boe@lkgeorge.org, and the board members and superintendent will get that email, and we will respond in a timely manner to that. And for those who are attending in person, I just want to read just a little piece. The Lake George School District Board of Education welcomes district residents, parents, and other interested persons to meetings. Community involvement at board meetings is encouraged so that the board can better understand and represent views of its constituents. Please be aware that by law, individual student information or particular personnel issues cannot be discussed at public sessions of the board. Please let us know when you come to the mic, what your name, and statements are limited to 3 minutes. The board and district staff take public comments very seriously, and careful notes of questions and concerns will be taken so that they can be addressed as soon as possible. Thank you in advance for helping us maintain a safe and respectful decorum at our meeting. The first public comment period is for items that are on the agenda. And we have, for the first public comment meeting, we have 2 names listed. If for some reason you didn't get a chance to sign in, you are still welcome to make a comment. Just raise your hand after these first 2 folks come to the microphone and speak. We ask people to sign in just so we can be organized and so that we definitely have people's name and contact information so that we can be sure to get back to folks. The first name on the list is Lisa Doster.
Good evening, Lisa Doster. For the record, to what end are we going to go to rewriting our policies and try to change history and try to set some type of precedent by not following New York state law? Policies like our new gender policy now look to give the district the right to allow the children right to choose their name, gender, or how they identify. But, a big but, New York state law states this can only occur over the age of 17 without parental consent. Why isn't this listed in our gender policy? This brings us further to another policy update, Public Officers Law, Article 7, Open Meetings Law. As listed, yet to be followed at the bottom of our policy 1510. This article must be adhered to and is required to be followed. Please see Article 7, Streamlined Section 107, Enforcement. Any aggrieved person shall have standing to enforce the provisions of this article against public body by the commencement of a proceeding for declaratory judgment. Also see Article 7, Streamlined Section 110, Construction with Other Laws. Any provision, code, ordinance, rule, regulation, or law affecting a public body which is more restrictive than this article shall be deemed superseded hereby to the extent that such provision is more restrictive than this article. In other words, Article 7 does not grant the right for a public body itself, like this board, to decide or make up policy that supersedes the law. The law as of April 2022, which supersedes Article 7, as well as superseding School Policy 1510, and affects this board, clearly states the public body during public meeting is to follow the in-person requirement of such meetings. Any public officer attending any meeting remotely via video conferencing as of April is thus not following the law. Our district cannot set policy and make such policy supersede the law. This includes extraordinary circumstance provision and does not grant the board or the district at its own discretion the ability to tweak or change this provision and how it affects them. However, they are bound by how this law is duly written. In order to hold a public hearing on this matter or any matter, proper notice must be given outside of this agenda and must clearly notify all inside and outside of the district to have a chance to be heard during public hearing. No such notice has been sent out to me, and if proper notice has not been given, the hearing should be removed from the agenda this evening until such proper notice is given. Speaking of notice, last policy meeting, November 7th, 2022, policy 7134 was to be further discussed at the next future policy committee meeting. But now it is on the agenda this evening for first read. Please explain to the public what a non-immigrant is. Does this include undocumented immigrants? And who is responsible to pay for the J-1 visa tuition program? That was a lot. Thank you very much for listening, and Merry Christmas to all.
Thank you, Lisa. Next up is Linda Clark.
Linda Clark, resident of the district. So I'm not going to repeat everything that Lisa had to say, but I am going to say that I agree with everything that she has to say, and I support everything that she had to say. With that, I do know that the student gender identity policy is at second read tonight, which means that it's a done deal. So it's going forward. I get it. I just feel compelled to have something to say about one part of it that I'm very concerned about. The policy, of course, recognizes the official changes to student gender must include parents. That's the official. But the unofficial changes is another story. The language in this policy gives the district the option to notify parents, the option. In nearly all areas where there is a reference to parent communication, the words, if appropriate, are included, taking away a parent's right to know and to be involved in their children's life decisions is dangerous and unacceptable. On another note, I just want to say, working out of state and living out of state, one or the other or both does not fall in line with the state requirement of extraordinary circumstances. There's the laws. We're expecting that the board follow the laws. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Next item on the agenda is Board of Education comments and discussion. Does anybody have comment?
I just would, Katie, just make a comment. I think, you know, we work really hard as a board to make sure that we are always operating within the law, and we check and recheck and confirm and reach out to our resources and experts at our disposal to make sure that in all ways we're following the law. And so I just want to like point that out.
Thank you. And
Make that
I
statement,
agree
yeah.
in terms of whether it's open meetings, policy work, all the work that we do, we are checking, double checking for our compliance. So thank you for mentioning that. Anybody else have anything in this section of comment? We have another Board of Education comment and discussion at the end. So if you don't have anything now. Okay. The next item is we're going to school business and the public hearing, video conferencing for extraordinary circumstances. And Mr. John Luthringer, our superintendent, is going to lead us in that.
Thanks,
you.
Katie. This will be a public hearing on video conferencing for extraordinary circumstances, but I'm going to read a little bit in pertaining to open meetings laws. So there's understanding of why we're having this public hearing, but it is open public hearing, and at the end we'll offer opportunity for those to be heard. Open Meetings Law, Article 7 of the State Public Officers Law has been amended multiple times during the pandemic. One of the first amendments to the law was to allow video conferencing at board meetings. In August 2021, the Board of Education approved a resolution to include video conferencing at board meetings. The purpose of that resolution was to establish the ability of any member of the governance team to attend a meeting via video conference. Additionally, this provides an opportunity for the public to attend, listen, and observe at any site at which a member participates. Each location would need to be included in our public notice pursuant to the Open Meetings Law. On April 9th, 2022, the governor signed into law Budget Bill A.9006C, which amends the Public Officers Law by adding a new section 103A with respect to permitting video conferencing and remote participation in public meetings under extraordinary circumstances. Under the new law, board members may use video conferencing and/or remote participation to conduct its meetings so long as a minimum number of members are present to fulfill the board's quorum requirement, and that such quorum is in the same physical location where the public can attend. There are additional criteria that do need to be met in order to meet the extraordinary circumstances criteria such as illness, caregiving, or bereavement, etc. In order to use video conferencing under the new law, the board must establish written procedures, must hold a public hearing, and adopt the resolution authorizing video conferencing to include extraordinary circumstances. If the board approves the resolution, this new law will remain in effect until July 1st, 2024, unless otherwise extended by the governor. Please note, if the board approves a resolution authorizing video conferencing due to extraordinary circumstances, it does not negate the resolution dated 8/10/21 that approved video conferencing for members without an extraordinary circumstance. The rule still applies for non-extraordinary circumstances, meaning the member location must be noticed and the public participation can occur at the alternate location. The primary difference between the two resolutions is the board does not need to notice the alternate location when extraordinary circumstances would be needed. At this time, after this explanation of the resolution for extraordinary circumstances, which is next on the agenda, we're into the public hearing portion of the agenda.
Do we have any comments or questions regarding this video conferencing for extraordinary circumstances, public hearing? Please come forward to the microphone. Thank you.
I would like to know how you are going to justify this. this non-extraordinary circumstance, I would like to know how this is going to be justified. How are you going to fit what's happening right now in this very meeting to extraordinary circumstances?
First of all, in this particular meeting, I don't know if you were here at the beginning of the meeting, when the meeting started. We have a board member who is ill with COVID and in quarantine and is participating as a non-voting member.
That would be an extraordinary circumstance. I can understand that, but this is not the first time this has happened. So, you know, I want to know how these occurrences, okay, let me redefine that then, that have happened since, you know, I started going to the board meetings, which was about a year ago. How are you going to fit that into extraordinary
So
circumstances?
there's two different types of virtual attendance. And every time a board member has attended virtually, they have fallen within the legal requirements for open meetings law. And Mr. Luthinger, can you just reiterate?
so-
that there's the two different
Yeah.
ones.
So Linda, the first resolution that was approved in August of 2021 just allows plain, I'm going to use some general language here, just plain video conferencing, as long as we notice the location of that person's remote participation. So any member of the public could attend that location. So that's what's been occurring since August 10th, 2021, when the original resolution was passed. So that's separate from tonight's resolution, which is just in particular pertaining to extraordinary circumstances, which in this case would have counted. But since we have not had an opportunity to pass, the board has not had an opportunity to approve or vote on that resolution. That is why the board member tonight is a non-voting member and just an observer, because she does fall under extraordinary circumstances, but the resolution hasn't passed yet.
But it was my understanding the law, you know, it got changed after COVID restrictions were lifted, and that it went back to the more restrictive circumstances regarding online attendance.
So,
I
and
mean,
and
I
I
don't have
have,
it in front of me, but.
no. So and we've consulted with our school attorneys. In addition to that, the Board of Regents just acted on this yesterday, so they acted on the same resolution. But our understanding from the law and our school attorneys is that the existing resolution, this does not trump or remove the existing resolution, which was to approve just plain video conferencing. There's two resolutions. They're both still part of open meetings law.
Okay, well.
I'd be
I'm
happy to follow up with you
Yeah,
afterwards.
that would be great.
Great.
I would appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Linda.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any comments or questions during the public hearing portion? Okay, thank you. So we will now move to the video conferencing for extraordinary circumstances resolution.
As recommended by the superintendent, be resolved that the Board of Education of the Lake George Central School District hereby adopts the following resolution as presented. And just to mention that this is a resolution in regards to what was described in the public hearing in regards to video conferencing via extraordinary circumstances.
Do we have a motion?
Second?
Do we have any questions or discussion regarding this? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is the school business consent agenda.
Again. As recommended by the superintendent, be resolved that the Board of Education of the Lake George Central School District hereby approves the school business consent agenda items A through I. In summary, item A is the minutes from the previous meetings, November 8th and the 21st, and the capital project vote on December 6th. Item B is a motion to approve the recommendations on the Committee on Special Education. Item C is a motion to approve the treasurer's report and extracurricular activities, funds, and warrants. Item D is a motion to approve the October 2022 claims auditor report. Item E is to acknowledge the receipt of report of the 2022 tax collection from the town of Lake George. Item F is a motion to authorize the filing of the return tax claims for 2022 with the respective county treasurers. Item G is a motion as customary practice of the Board of Education to have 2 readings of a policy prior to its adoption as presented. Item H is a motion to approve up to 3 board members to attend and present at the 2023 National School Board Association Annual Conference. Item I is a motion to approve the administration to take action to submit an application to Section 2 of the New York State Public High School Athletic Association for the express purpose of combining students from the Lake George Central School District, Warrensburg Central School District, and Bolton Central School District to form a singular modified junior varsity and varsity football teams for the 2023-24 football season.
Second.
Any questions? Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the, pardon?
Oh, sorry.
The next item on the agenda is the Washington, Saratoga, Hamilton, Warren, Essex, BOCES regional legislative priorities.
Yes, as shared previously and as recommended by the superintendent, be resolved that the Board of Education of the Lake George Central School District hereby resolves to approve the following resolution regarding the Warren, Washington, Saratoga, Hamilton, Essex County Board of Education's 2023 advocacy priorities. To summarize here, each year our local BOCES, there's a CSO committee involved with superintendents who have a very strong advocacy focus in our local BOCES, and we regionally develop advocacy priorities that will benefit all school districts in our region. These here presented tonight would certainly not only benefit Lake George, but also our region as a whole. And again, they are collaboratively developed, and our local BOCES asks each of the Board of Educations in our 31 schools to adopt and approve. And then what we'll do is we send advocacy letters on the school district's behalf to our local legislators and our state legislators for their consideration of these advocacy priorities. Typically, they pertain to funding and funding all schools funding all schools whole across the board, which again, this one does with funding and adjusting the foundation formula. Some of the ones also, number 2 is increase the $30,000 threshold on BOCES aid for career and technical education CTE teachers. This is considerably outdated if you think about where salaries are at this point. So we're only getting aid on that first $30,000 as a school district. Most CTE salaries are well over $30,000. So we would like to see the ability to get aid on the full salary. Again, supporting universal free meals for students by maintaining the availability of universal meals at no cost to families, and advocacy centered around workforce development. So again, as recommended by the superintendent, be it resolved, the Board of Education approves these resolutions as presented.
Any questions? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda, we have the faculty staff recognitions, and the first of that is faculty staff resignation consent agenda.
As recommended by the superintendent, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Lake George Central School District hereby approves the faculty staff resignation consent agenda items A through C. A motion to accept the resignation of Jamie Bearer from the position of Committee on Special Education Chairperson effective January 31st, 2023. Item B is a motion to accept the resignation of Billy Joe Meter from the position of Administrative Assistant. And item C is the motion to accept the resignation of Kevin Norton from the position of Bus Driver.
Any discussion or questions? Thank you for being here tonight, Jamie, and thank you for your service. And of course, we're going to miss everyone, and we appreciate you coming in person tonight. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you again. Next is the faculty staff appointments consent agenda.
As recommended by the superintendent, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Lake George Central School District hereby approves the faculty staff consent appointments, items A through H. Item A is a motion to appoint Bernadette Bouchard as the interim Committee on Special Education chairperson, effective December 5th, 2022 through on or about June 30th, 2023. Item B is a motion to appoint Lynn Allen to the full-time position of probationary bus driver. Item C is a motion to appoint Ed LaFerriere to the full-time position of probationary bus driver. Item D is a motion to appoint Anthony Malhero to the full-time position of probationary building maintenance mechanic cleaner position. Item E is a motion to appoint Emily Cooper and Jennifer Cornell to the position of international coordinator for the 2022-23 school year, as presented previously. Item F is a motion to amend the 2022-23 curriculum list and stipends associated with those positions. Item G is a motion to amend the 2022-23 coaches list and the volunteer coaches list. And item H is a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between the Lake George Central School District and the Lake George Staff Association.
Any questions? Discussion? I see Berna out there. Thank
Yes.
you, Berna,
Thank you,
for,
Berna.
for being here in person and welcome. We appreciate the upcoming assistance that you're going to be giving us with your expertise. I don't know if there's anybody else out there that was on this list. I don't think so. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. And so the next item is our second public comment period. Okay, there was nobody signed up on the list. Please. Welcome.
Very much. My name's Craig Starrett. Tonight I heard a lot of great things there that were going on. Our special ed, 100% in Regents, they're amazing. Our athletes, scholar athletes in there, in such a small school, Lake George, they're a football team that went to, the pre-states. That's first year combining two. I saw leadership and friendship and pulling together. Some great things are going on with our students in there, and I'm just seeing some really good stuff. 75% of our elementary school are in a music program and are doing stuff after. And I think Lake George is doing a really, really good job at there. And our BOCES, I'm all for BOCES. I'm a plumber. God, I could use the help of any guy that goes and can turn a wrench and get out there, weld, do that. We need that. We need more of that. We need to really push that program there. So we're doing some amazing things here, and we should be patting ourselves on the back. The board, the staff, the teachers, the coaches, there, we have a lot to be proud of in there. And you look at this when we're making policies and stuff like that, and we're looking all over the world and, there to whoever's doing this and who suggests that and stuff. You know what? I think they should be looking at us and taking some advice from us, because we're doing something pretty right around here. And I think you guys got to give yourselves some credit in there and, think for yourselves. Don't have everybody always tell you what you need to think too. And I think we should do that with our kids, and they should be able to think for themselves and hear both sides of stories and to create their own opinions and to create really good citizens in this world. The best thing you could do is make the world a better place through what you're doing. And I think we're producing that. You guys, everybody here is working hard and cares about that. And in their heart, it's really here. And so thank you very much for everything that everybody's doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Is there anybody else in our last public comment? Pardon?
That was a good one to finish on.
And if not, we have a Board of Education comment and discussion section, our second one. If there's anything.
I'll make a comment. I just want to say, what Greg just said, every time we have a gathering or I attend an event or we have a board meeting, I have those same feelings. I feel like, we have so much talent in the school district and people who are just so dedicated, and it is a lot to feel proud of. I'm really proud to be part of it.
Thank you, Marianne. Agreed.
I'll just say too, I think it says a lot too about our parents when we have parents who are paying attention and who are coming to the meetings to express their concerns, to express and to celebrate too. So again, that's all very much appreciated. So.
And last comment, I just want to thank Jamie again. And I see I'm too emotional. That's why I didn't speak earlier, and I shouldn't right now either, but you will be missed. Yeah. So thanks for being here tonight so I can say that publicly. And Berna, I'm glad to see you out there, and welcome back. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I just want to say I'm a proud retired faculty member, 28 years in this district, and I agree with Greg. It's a great school. That's why I'm sitting on the board, and I'm proud to do that. And Jamie, thank you very much. Berna, it's good to see you. And it's been good working with both of you. Thank you.
Okay. So our last item on the agenda is the executive session. The Board of Education of the Lake George Central School District proposes entering into an executive session to discuss the employment history of a particular employee. It's the superintendent mid-year evaluation.
So moved.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. We do not expect to come out into open session again. So this is it for the open session. Thank you for coming tonight. We appreciate you being here.